Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and I'm stuck in the metric mayhem of trying to figure out metric gears. And I've got my reading glasses on here because I've been looking into Machinery's handbook here, and there's, you know, page after page complicated formulas and numbers and mathematical symbols that us rednecks don't even understand. You know, I mean, when there's a lot of places here I get above counting on fingers and toes, and then I really can't handle the numbers, you know, or maybe fractions of fingers, or the inverse fingers and reciprocals of so many toes. It's terrible. But anyway, I watched this old Tony, and he made some metric gears, and he had, I guess, done it twice, really. And I'm going to sneeze. All right, I'm back from the sneezing. Anyway, he had done it twice, and the second time around he showed it to us. And he showed us the rule for divide the number of teeth, that sort of thing. And he made some metric gears, but he was lucky. He had these plastic gears he wanted to replace with metal, and right there cast to your molded end of the plastic gear was the module and the pressure angle and this sort of thing. So all he had to do was just get a cutter to match it. Now, buying one cutter is not such a bad thing. It's about $25, $30. Not like buying 10 sets of cutters or something to try to, you know, have one to do everything. And his gear was a module too. So I contacted a few other creators, and I asked them, you know, if they, you know, would like to enlighten me on metric gears, and the advice I got was to look into Machinery's handbook and to tell you all about it. So I got out Machinery's handbook and suffered with it for 2 or 3 days. I even bought another book, and just to give me a different way of looking at things. And I went to a lot of trouble there figuring out, or trying to figure out, what kind of a metric gear is on this stupid motor, you know. And it was a real exercise, and in the doing of it, I'd already known that Fusion 360 had an add-in that you could use to generate gears, and actually metric gears seems to be their specialty, because, you know, everything in the 3D printer world or such is metric. Most of the world is metric. So anyway, I got that add-in, and it asked a lot of questions that I didn't know the answers to. You know, you just fill in the blanks, and it makes the gear for you. But I didn't know a lot of those answers, so I had to fool around making several gears, and you'll see that here in a minute. But after going through all this, I came to the final conclusion that there's too darn many modules of metric gears. And you saw in I guess the last video, I bought some gauges, gear tooth pitch gauges for standard gears, and they cover 14.5 degree pressure angle and 20 degree pressure angle. Well, the best I've been able to do at a price that's even somewhere near reasonable in metric gears to get the module. In gears to get the plastic module, there's one set that's 14.5 degree pressure angle and another set that's 20 degree pressure angle, and they're both about $50 a piece. And just, you know, to measure gears that I'm probably not going to mess with anyway, that's a lot of an investment to me, you know. Of course, I've got about, I guess, $70 invested in the standard pitch gauge, which started out at $10 back in 1959. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I'm going to do is show you what I printed out and what I went through, and show you the gear and how the motor's made and a few things like that. So let's just get on with it. This is my first 3D printed metric gear. Failure. I guess it come unstuck from the table there, but I'll try again. This is too small anyway. Alright, so in my search to understand metric gears and to learn to identify them, I got the Fusion 360 add-in that prints gears. And I printed some metric gears, and some are 14.5 degree pressure angle and some are 20. Okay, these are 20. This little bitty fellow, I don't remember what he was. This one right here is a 14.5 degree, and I think if you will look at it, it appears to exactly match the one that came on this little motor. It appears to. So that's why I feel like the one that came, this 9-tooth gear, is a 14.5 degree pitch. Might not be, but it looks like it. So to give me a little fit test, I got this great big one here, and I think that he fits into there fairly well. You know, the teeth fit together somewhat good. Let me take this one off there, get that out of the way, and get this back in the way. And it looks to me like that my gear fits. May not fit perfectly. One of the weird things about metric gears, clumsy. One of the weird things about metric gears is they can be in so many different steps. I'm not sure if I ever want to mess with metric gears as far as making them, you know, because if you buy just a 20 degree pressure angle, there's at least 10 different sets that they sell, and some of those sets are as high as $400 a piece, you know, sets of cutters, and they're 1 through 8 normally, but they're like 0.5 millimeters and 1 millimeter and 1.5 and, you know, and all kind of things like that. So it makes things harder than it really should be. And then you can measure the width of the tooth, and then try to work the math in with the diameter of the gear, which is harder when you got an odd number of teeth. In my attempt to understand metric gears and determine for sure just what the heck this was, I tried a lot of different things. I tried taking the caliper, setting them on metric, and measuring the gear. I tried measuring gear diameter, and then I got Machinery's Handbook, and I looked up this stuff here. And you can pause your camera, your video to read it. Let's turn it a little bit here so we don't have a shadow on it. And to find the metric module there, it says Rule 1. To find the metric module, divide the pitch diameter in millimeters by the number of teeth. And they show here the module equal 200 over 40, which gives you a module of 5, where they had a 200 millimeter diameter and 40 teeth. All right. So next from down, Rule 2, multiply circular pitch in millimeters by 0.3183. And here the circular pitch of this gear equals 15.708 millimeters. Module equals 15.708 times 0.3183 equals 5. Rule 3, divide the outside diameter in millimeters by the number of teeth plus 2. Which is pretty much the same way you do with a standard gear to find the diametral pitch. Okay? Then there's also an English module, which I find interesting, and you may not care about it, but it says the module system is usually applied when gear dimensions are expressed in millimeters, but a module may also be based on inch measurements. Rule: to find the English module, divide pitch diameter in inches by the number of teeth. So we've got the module is 12 inches over 48 teeth. That's a 1/4 module, or 4 diametral pitch. And of course they go on with all kind of rules to the end of the page. So, but if it's an English module, you don't refer to it as, you have to say that it's an English module, because that's not the same thing as a metric module. Now then, it's your guess as good as mine. Did I match that up correctly or not? Probably not, because it really still doesn't seem to fit terribly good. The gear program in Fusion 360 allows you to say how big the radius is going to be in the bottom here and all manner of things. And so I played around with gears in the area of 12 dp. But that doesn't mean that they were all right or wrong. So you can see how well that tooth fits. And these are, I believe, both module 2 and 14.5 degree angle. Okay. What did I come to the conclusion of? I came to the conclusion that I'm not going to mess with metric gears because, number one, sorry about kicking the camera again. Number one, there's so many different sizes, and the gear cutters is darned expensive. I mean, you've got like 12 different sets of 8 here just for the 20 degree pressure angle. And like I say, they go from anywhere from $118 a set up to $400 a set. That was on the site I was looking at. And that's an awful lot to invest in gear cutters. If I want gears, I'll just go ahead and use the ones that I have. I've got some 14s and you know, 16s and such that are just right, and I'll use those. They're standard gears. And if I have a gear like this, I'll mill the sucker off if I have to and just pin another gear on there. Although I'm not going to use this, I'm going to get a Harbor Freight hoist. But I know that you'll want to see what's in here, what the gear looks like. So we're going to get a screwdriver and open it up. Got the screwdriver right here. One of the interesting things I noticed about this guy was that this little screw is really poorly made. Now this is a brand new motor, so it hadn't been abused or anything. But I want you to look at the screw head here. It's not only is it bent over, but it's off center. Makes that thing wobbling around. That's something. Alright, so now you'd think this thing on the outside here amounts to something, but it's just a metal cover. And it's got a rubber lining. It doesn't support anything. It just keeps the grease in or the dirt out, whichever you want to call it. And the gear will just pop right out of here. Oh, you've got to pull the little keeper off. I'll pull the keeper off and we'll come back. Alright, that's interesting. I got it out of there. It's just a little odd shaped guy with lobes there. I could take him out of there and put him in the milling machine, cut him off and put a regular standard gear on there if I decide to. And to keep it positioned in this little gear, there's these little plastic circles in there to sort of take up space and keep him positioned. So this guy goes right back in there. I'm sure he's going to be a lot harder to put in than it was to take apart. Everything always is, especially when it's all loose like this. Sort of makes me think of putting universal joints in a car. You know, they come all loose with the bearings all loose, and you slide the cap on, and the only thing that's going to hold it on is pressure. And if you're not careful, you'll lose the little needle bearings out of the bottom. One of the bad features of this, the only support this gear has, is the back of this housing. It comes out here and it goes into this little piece of sheet metal. This doesn't do anything but just keep dirt out, so all of your pressure is going to be on that one connection back there in the back, and it's not very thick, not really. So I guess you'd have to be careful how much pressure you put on it too. Like I say, I'm going to go with the Harbor Freight hoist. I just thought you guys like to see what I've got here. Well, it seems like Bubba had this Uncle Zeke and Aunt Sue. And Aunt Sue was a bit of a kleptomaniac, I guess, because things would stick to her fingers when she went through the store. She's about 80 years old, you know, and so was Uncle Zeke. And anyway, she got caught shoplifting down at the local Walmart. Had to go up in front of the judge. She took Uncle Zeke along with her. So the judge says, "Well, just what did you pick up in Walmart, lady?" She says, "Well," she said, I picked up a package of those little crackers." Judge says, "Well, how many crackers was in that package?" She said, "There was 6. Judge says, "Well, in that case, then I sentence you to 6 days in jail." Uncle Zeke pops says, Your Honor," he says, she stole a family-sized pack of M&Ms too." Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.